Greetings to all those who are viewing this video, and a big congratulations to all those who have cleared the written exam, that is the Afcat written exam, on behalf of Gurudevas SSB Academy. Okay, the big question which pops up in everybody's mind is, what is the next step that we need to take after clearing the written exam? Okay, so this whole video has been put together to give you a broad overview as to what would be the next steps that you would take after having cleared the Afcat written exam. Starting with what next? Okay, a lot of people would be, concerned with which board would I choose, what date would I choose, and going ahead and downloading the call letter. Well, all these things are part of the next step that you would take. Okay, it would be an essential part of the next step that you would take, but my advice over here would be that choose a date which would give you sufficient time to prepare yourself, whether it is mentally or physically, to appear for the SSB interview. Okay, now coming to the next part is, what exactly is the SSB? Okay, as far as the Afcat paper goes, you have been checked for your intellectual capabilities. You have appeared for a written exam in which we have already checked your intellectual capabilities. Based on your score which you have got, you have either cleared, made the cutoff or not. Now the next part is to check whether your personality suits the requirement of the organization. And what basis are we selecting you as far as this process goes? So this process is covered in the SSB, wherein it is totally a personality based assessment to see whether your personality suits the requirement of the organization. So the SSB process has got two parts to it. You have something known as the screening test, followed by the personality assessment. Okay. Now, the screening test basically is to check your cognitive abilities as well as your verbal communication skills. So the screening process happens on day 1 at the AFSBs, wherein you are either screened in or screened out based on these two abilities which you would possess, that is whether on your cognitive abilities as well as your verbal communication skills. So after having screened in, then would be your actual personality assessment at the AFSB. The personality assessment is a 3-pronged system. That is to say that you are checked for certain officer-like qualities. There are total 15 officer-like qualities. So you are checked for these officer-like qualities, which would constitute a broad overview of your personality. The aim is to see whether a candidate actually possesses these qualities and to what extent is he able to exhibit these qualities during the testing which happens over there. So your assessment is a 3-pronged system wherein you have the psychological tests, you have group testing, and you have a personal interview. As soon as you finish with the screening test, if you get screened in, the first test that would be administered to you would be the psychological test. Now the psychological test comprises of 4 tests. You have the TAT, WAT, SRT and the SD. Okay, this is the first test. After which you will have the GT. You have GT day 1, day 2, and in between during that period, you will be also have a personal interview with one of the interviewing officers. Okay. After the completion of the entire 4 days of assessment, there would be a conference which would be held, okay, wherein all the assessors who have assessed you would be sitting in the conference, and the candidates' marks are thereafter discussed, and based on the results, the candidate is either recommended or not recommended. So the conference procedure is on the last day. So till now I have covered the first 2 parts. Now coming to the third part. The third part is SSB preparation. Now this is a big question, whether should I prepare for the SSB or should I go the way I am? Okay. In my personal overview, I will say that there are a very few candidates who really would benefit from going without any preparation. there is a very small percentage of candidates who actually make it through without having adequate amount of preparation. But in my personal view, I would say that it is better to have some kind of preparation before proceeding for the SSB interview. The idea of preparing is to get, firstly, to have a better understanding of what the whole procedure is all about. You would also like to get familiar with what would be the testing procedure which would be entailed over there, and to understand the testing pattern, like what would be happening over there. So preparation would help you in three ways. Firstly, it would get you to understand what would be the testing pattern. It would also make you familiar with the tests. By being familiar, it would also enhance your confidence, because you would be more aware of what to expect when you go there. And last minute panic to avoid, that would definitely be there. To be taken by surprise. Basically, the idea is to have pre-knowledge would always be better than to be taken by surprise while going for the SSB. Okay. I'll give you two extremes of going prepared or going unprepared. Okay. Going unprepared would be going raw. A lot of people have this idea that I have now cleared the Afcat exam, so it's great and I just have to go for the SSB, clear it, and I'm through. But please try and understand there are two distinct types of testing which are happening here. The first part with regard to the Afcat paper was to check your intellectual capabilities. The second part is totally different. It is to check your personality. So to sharpen and polish your personality would definitely go a long way in you confidently appearing for the SSB. So that preparation would definitely help you. So, one way of doing it is that somebody goes there absolutely raw, appears for it, be taken by surprise, rather than a person who prepares himself and goes there confidently knowing what he's going to face at the SSB. So the best approach would be to, have pre-knowledge, but also retain your own personality, your own originality, which would be there while going for the SSB. Okay. Now, the next question is, okay, if I need to prepare, how do I prepare? Do I prepare on my own, or should I go in for some kind of a coaching or guidance which would be required? Well, there are two approaches. Either you can prepare on your own, but taking some kind of a coaching or guidance from some experienced people who have been ex-SS in the board will definitely go a long way in helping you, first of all, understanding. The biggest advantage of taking coaching is to get a feedback. See, if you may prepare on your own, there is no problem. You can definitely do preparation on your own before going to the SSB. But the advantage of taking coaching for the SSB is to get a feedback. You would come to know where you are lacking, where are your strong points, where are your limitations, where are your weaknesses, what are your restrictions. So you can definitely work on that, and they would also guide you in the right direction in which you need to work. So this would definitely help you. Okay. Now the question is, how much coaching should I take? Well, that is an individual thing, depends on your own personality and your preparedness as to how much coaching would you like to take. It depends also on your grasp, your keenness, your comprehension of how you would gather and assimilate everything during the coaching period. Okay, now coming to the fourth part, which is board selection. Firstly, let me clear this myth which is going around, or I would say that a lot of people have a myth, or there is a lot of, hearsay which goes on, that this board is better, that board is better, or this board is better, or that board is not too good. Firstly, let me make it clear that selecting any board does not make a difference on your selection process. All the boards have got the same assessors which are present. So selecting a board is no criteria. The only criteria for selecting a particular type of board would be based on your own personal convenience, whether proximity of the board to where you stay, and also the available dates that would be there, whether you have the slots for that particular board or not. So that would be a personal preference, I would put it this way, but it would definitely not affect the selection process. Now the next part is coming to selecting a date. Like I mentioned earlier, it depends on your willingness or your understanding to take, whether would you like to take coaching or you would not like to take coaching. Would you like to get prepared or not get prepared? So like I have mentioned, the advantages of being prepared for the things. So date selection, my recommendation would be choose a date which gives you sufficient time to kind of prepare yourself so as to you are aware of what to expect at the SSB, and it gives you some time to practice and also make yourself self-aware of what would be what you need to expect over there. So there are the AFSBs, I will just name them, that there is Dehradun, Mysore, Gandhinagar, Varanasi and Guwahati. So depending on geographically where you are and the slots available, you can decide and choose a date and place as per your convenience. So coming to, in conclusion, I will definitely advise people that it will be beneficial for you if you would prepare yourself. That depends on how you would like to prepare, but prepare yourself definitely so as to have a more confident and purposive approach towards the SSB. Well, to all the viewers, I can only say this, that if you want a structured and systematic preparation for your SSB, you are most welcome to please come and join Gurudevas Academy. We have a good set of faculty here who are well experienced, and we have ex-SSers here. Like myself, I am Group Captain Anil Bhardwaj. I have been the psychologist. I have been a senior psychologist in 2 boards, namely Varanasi and Mysore. Apart from that, I have also done my part of my assessment in Bangalore and in Allahabad also. And I have worked on many of the other boards. Like I have worked in Dehradun, I have worked in Gandhinagar. Okay, so sufficient amount of experience is there. We also have Colonel Sinha, who is an experienced IO. He was the deputy president at 19 SSB in Allahabad. We also have Colonel Chauhan, who's also there, who takes interviews. So we have experienced assessors here who will definitely guide you in each and every step of the way, and will also, the most important thing is to get your feedback, where you are lacking and how you would improve in that. See, there are, getting to know where you lack and then taking the right steps to improve in that direction is very important. This will also not help you, not only in SSB, it would also help you to build your personality and definitely become a much better person once you join this academy. So in conclusion, I will just tell you that definitely consider to prepare yourself so that you have a more meaningful, a more purposeful approach towards it, with the aim of getting recommended on the first attempt that you make. So all the best to all of you and do well. God bless.